This video was sponsored by Skillshare. The first 1,000 people to join with the link in the description will get 2 free months on their premium membership. TikTok is a cringe fest, filled with lip syncing and quirky dancing, but it's also the most downloaded app in a quarter ever. During these times of isolation, the app's popularity has skyrocketed. Besides achieving great success with teens and young adults, the minds behind the app have managed to evolve to fit a more diverse, massive market. TikTok's success isn't due to chance, but rather attention to detail and constant improvement. So let's do the stare shuffle and lip sync to cheesy songs. Well, no. Let's not do that. But today we will talk about TikTok and how it became one of the most prominent players in the world. This is Company Forensics TikTok. The origins. TikTok was born in China, originally known as Douyin. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Back in 2016, the product of giant ByteDance. Just for reference, in case you haven't heard of them, ByteDance, according to some tech analysts, is a Chinese version of Facebook and is Google's only real competition in the country. It owns popular social networks and apps in China with millions of daily users. ByteDance's first product was Toutiao, a newsfeed in which you could have friends, but neither you nor them could upload content. Instead, it filled your feed with hyper-targeted content and ads. As dull as that sounds, it was a huge hit and at its peak had 200 million daily active users. Despite this success, ByteDance's founder and CEO Zhang Yiming wanted more. His goal was to go global. China might seem like a big market, but in his own words, it only accounts for 1/5 of the internet users globally, and he wanted the other 4/5. The challenge centered around how both markets operated. China has particular restrictions and stringent control, which often clash with policies from other countries like the US. To dominate both is nothing short of admirable, and we'll get to this later. Yiming's first idea revolved around sharing short videos, but this idea wasn't new in China, as competitors like Kuaishou and MeiPay already had a considerable share of the market. Still, a growing generation of young Chinese users with high mobile phone use meant this market was only bound to grow. To stand out, Yiming had to continually revise and improve his product to keep it exciting, with new filters, special effects, and icons. And at first, the app didn't catch. It wasn't until ByteDance tapped on the power of celebrities, and they invited the likes of Yang Mi and Lu Han, who already had massive fan bases. To further enhance its reach, they allowed integration with Chinese chat services such as QQ, Weibo, and WeChat, which were already established and had millions of users. And they didn't stop there. ByteDance also ventured into monetization and partnered with big Chinese brands like Harbin Beer and international giants like Chevrolet. Then, within a short amount of time, ByteDance updated the app so that it could include live streaming. And all of this strategy paid off. With such aggressive promotion and an app that was really fun to use, people started talking about Douyin. By August 2017, Douyin had reached 1 billion views, and users in China were downloading the app like crazy. In 500 days, it overtook its competition and became the #1 app for short video sharing. But, Yiming didn't stop there. Time to go global. To achieve global success, Yiming knew he had to first succeed in one market, the US, and it wasn't impossible to achieve. Another Chinese brand, Musical.ly, was enjoying considerable success in the United States. Now, Musical.ly was the brainchild of Alex So and Lulu Chang, who aimed to create an educational social network based on short videos. But it failed to garner interest. Still, Chang and Su managed to reinvent the app into an app that made it easy for users to shoot music videos and share them with friends. It had been successful in China, but it was in the US that Musical.ly hit it big. Teenagers got hooked on lip syncing the latest pop hits, and this is key to its success. Musical.ly had joined companies like Warner Music Group, which meant the latest hits with no copyright issues. This recipe was what Douyin needed. So instead of creating its own, ByteDance purchased Musical.ly for about $1 billion. With that, Douyin had a presence in the US, access to tons of the latest music, and an already established audience. All it had to do was exploit it. Now, both Douyin and Musical.ly ran in a parallel fashion for a little under a year. Eventually, ByteDance announced it would join both platforms and maintain the Douyin name in China, and for the rest of the world, the name would be TikTok. And this merger was a hit. Here are some of the numbers. In June 2018, it was the number 7 downloaded app in the US, number 3 in the world, and by November of that year, it was number 2 in the US and maintained the number 3 rank worldwide. The demographics changed as well. Before the merger, about 2.6 million adults used the app. Less than a year after the merger, that number was 7.2 million. And more people began using it. TikTok caught the attention of major celebrities like Jennifer Lopez, Selena Gomez, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and many more. By the end of 2019, TikTok was the number 1 app, as well as the most downloaded app of any quarter ever. Though ByteDance seldom releases official numbers, it did announce that TikTok had reached 1.5 billion monthly active users coming from 150 different countries. Yiming had indeed reached his goal. So yes, it's been an enormous success, but TikTok isn't the only video sharing app. So why was it a hit? The keys to success. Amongst many things TikTok does well, it excels in one: being immersive. The moment you open the app, there's no login, just an endless video feed. There's no pause, and all you can do is like, comment, share, and move on. Plus, contrary to other social networks like Instagram, TikTok dedicates the entire screen to video. It draws you in with its relentless rapid-fire sequence of high-energy videos. And then there's the video itself. TikTok is easy to use. Anyone can record and upload a video for millions of possible viewers to see. Anyone and everyone is a creator. Editing, if you want to, is easy, fast, and done right in the app. No need for outside editing software. Plus, why edit? TikTok's videos are easygoing. Cringy, yes, but very easy and people love it. And then there's the brand placement. To export a video, you first have to post it in the app, where a watermark will automatically appear, and only then can you share it on other social networks. And so the TikTok logo is in front of millions of users outside of TikTok, many of them teenagers. More than 40% of its audience is between 16 and 24, a generation with tons of energy that gets bored quickly. But they are permanently connected to mobile phones, capture them, and the road might just be a little easier. From the start, aided by the merger, TikTok did just that. This combination of individual successes propelled TikTok to the top. So what does it have to prove it? Besides billions of users and worldwide presence, it now has a whopping $75 billion valuation. But it's not all dances and laughter. Things can get political. Controversies. TikTok has achieved what few can. It's massively popular in both China and the US, and it's this popularity that has some people quite uncomfortable. Let's start with censorship. Leaked documents appear to show that ByteDance purposely censored users based on, get this, whether they were ugly or not, or if their bodies didn't conform to a certain standard. It's pretty twisted, but it doesn't end there. Censorship had also targeted people from the LGBT community and other minorities. But TikTok said it was to stop those accounts from getting bullied. If that's their goal, shouldn't they censor the users, bullying them instead? Eventually, TikTok did own up to these allegations. All this did was help in showing that ByteDance has more robust censorship policies than many of its counterparts. Then there's the audience. Many TikTok users are underage, and their safety is critical. In an investigation, however, the Federal Trade Commission found that TikTok illegally collected personal information from children by not obtaining their parents' permission before they signed up, putting it in violation of COPPA, the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act. TikTok had to pay $5.7 million in a settlement to those affected. But it doesn't end there. According to US lawmakers, one of the most significant issues with TikTok is the way it handles its data. All the while, the app continues to be more influential within the country. It makes sense. TikTok is the most popular app in antagonizing countries after all. And even though TikTok spokespeople expressed their interest to be in good terms with the US, the app has been considered a risk to national security, so much so that many branches forbid its use in government-issued phones. And then let's combine politics and censorship. Take, for example, the Hong Kong protests. Mysteriously, TikTok has very little content, if any, yet the company insists they are not censoring anyone. And yes, social networks don't necessarily have to be beacons of social activism. However, in these current times of global tension, having a voice, whichever means necessary, is a must. Shady clones. What's the sincerest form of flattery? Imitation? And TikTok is no exception. During May, an app named Zin climbed up to the app ranks to number 1. Want to guess what it was about? Short music videos. Specifically, it was TikTok's videos. But that's not all, because it was also a pyramid scheme in which users earned money from watching videos and referring other people. Anytime you have to refer a friend, it's probably a trap. But the app was very successful, having millions of downloads in the past months. And due to its popularity, people noticed that videos from Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok suddenly appeared in Zin without consent. Google and Apple eventually did take down the app, but they took too long, and neither company has openly addressed the situation, which was weird, to say the least. So Zin was so effective at cloning TikTok, it even dragged along controversy. Lockdown times. Hey, let's face it, it's okay if you get bored in these crazy times of lockdown. Imagine if you're a teenager and can't go outside, see your friends, and hang around. Wait, do teenagers still do that? Anyway, that's where TikTok's genius comes in. Currently, in countries like Spain, the UK, and the US, the app is used more than Netflix and YouTube. Reports have found an increase of 200% compared to 2 years ago, and remember, they already had billions of users before all of this. ByteDance has been nifty. Practically everyone has been in lockdown, not just teenagers. So as more and more millennials use the app for distraction, TikTok has added content that is more focused on DIY projects, tutorials, and live Q&A videos. It's a genius move. At the end of it all, yes, TikTok has the teenagers all to themselves, but as Yimin had said in the beginning, they didn't have the rest, and it looks like they are on their way as well. There's a caveat though. Teens get bored quickly. Stair shuffles and lip syncing can go out of style, especially when your aunt starts doing it. So TikTok, watch out. You don't want to lose that core audience. Now, we get tons of questions around the tools that we use to make these videos. Well, the background animation is done in Adobe After Effects. I found a great course by Jake Bartlett that goes over all the details on Skillshare, and I'm happy to recommend it. Skillshare agreed to give us 1,000 codes to get 2 free months on the platform, which you can access from the link in the description. Another course I can recommend is Caleb Babcock's iPhone Filmmaking. It's a quick 30-minute class on Skillshare on creating cinematic video with just your iPhone. We publish 2 weekly videos on startup advice and company success and failure stories, a series we call Company Forensics. So what do you think? Will there be another forensics video on the death of TikTok? Let us know in the comments, and see you next week.